Ben Zobrist, working to be a more vocal leader for Cubs in 2019, originally appeared on nbcsportschicago.comMESA, Ariz. The Cubs are kind of the hipsters of the leadership committee world. Before the Bulls got so much attention for their leadership council under coach Jim Boylen, the Cubs held their own closed-door meeting between the front office and the players. The leadership narrative has been right up there with the payroll as far as top off-season storylines for the Cubs, with Theo Epstein and Jed Hoyer often discussing their desire to find more veterans for the clubhouse to help keep guys accountable, enforce the urgency needed throughout a long season, and avoid any sort of complacency that may set in. You can now cross those three buzzwords off your Cubs bingo cards. The Cubs felt like they lacked that edge last season and pointed to it as one of the reasons why they were caught from behind by the Brewers in the final week of the season and wound up at home, barbecuing in the first week of October instead of on another march toward a potential championship. So to learn from that situation and improve upon it, Zobrist was among the group discussion. "We've had some very candid conversations with the leadership," he said Friday when he showed up at camp after a 4-day excused absence for personal reasons. "I was really grateful to see how Theo, Jed set several of us down and just asked a lot of questions to us. What do you think? When you feel like you have a voice and you feel like you could potentially have say in what could happen as the new year comes in, you jump in. I've thought about it a lot over the course of this off-season. I'm excited about the potential of how things will change and the mindset moving forward. I can't wait to see it play itself out." Zobrist turns 38 in May and in the final season of his contract, but he's been everything the Cubs could have wanted when they inked him to a 4-year deal before the 2016 season. He stabilized the lineup that year, won the World Series MVP, and has generally been a great example of the type of plate approach and work ethic the organization wants young players to model themselves after. But leader was not a word attached to Zobrist, often because he's not the David Ross type who continually lends advice in the clubhouse and chirps in the dugout. "I'm just not an out-loud leader," Zobrist said. "I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not gonna try and go out and get in guys' faces in any regard. I'm just gonna do my job. I think I was always just so focused on doing my job that I didn't worry too much about what's going on around me, but now at this point, you kinda see how things went last year. We all feel of collective responsibility. For me, not knowing what my future is next year, I definitely want to take my full responsibility and give whatever I can to the guys and give to this group so we can get back to where we want to be." Like John Lester, Zobrist may not be all that comfortable with a role as a vocal leader, but the Cubs are challenging their experienced veterans to take more of a responsibility in helping keep this young core in line and nudge them in the right direction. Zobrist feels veteran leadership is undervalued in the game right now and believes that's reflected in free agency, where so many older players have found difficulty finding homes. He's entering his 14th season in the big leagues and has more than 1,600 games and 6,600 plate appearances under his belt. "I do think that it's necessary to speak up when you have something to say, but there's also a necessary tact that it takes, especially with younger players and guys that are great players in their own right," Zobrist said. "But the experience does give you something. You've been through a few things that maybe some of the young guys haven't. You see how the game changes, you see it from different eyes, and so hopefully as I see things that are changing and I see little things within our clubhouse atmosphere, I do plan on saying something in the right way, just encouraging guys. I really believe that can do a lot for a ball club." Young players like Wilson Contreras, Chris Bryant and Ian Happ have directly mentioned Zobrist and how they watch the way he goes about his business, prepares and can put together a professional at-bat regardless of the situation, where he's hitting in the order, what position he's playing, etc. But again, the Cubs feel the team has a strong need for more vocal leadership in the clubhouse, which was a big reason why they picked up Cole Hamels' $20 million option and brought in veteran Daniel Descalso. Descalso is about all they could manage this winter with a strict budget that didn't allow much wiggle room, but the Cubs also spent the offseason internalizing the disappointment from last fall. They worked to try to improve what they had, and pushing Lester and Zobrist to become more vocal leaders falls under that umbrella. I'm excited to kind of own my position, but also do a little bit more ownership with the entire group, Zobrist said. I think everybody's kinda there. Everybody's like, how can we build each other up as a group, instead of, how can I develop as a player? I've been getting there for the last few years of my career, no doubt, but this year, probably even more so. Joe Maddon is just fine with Zobrist continuing to lead by example. Zo has always had this quiet leadership about him, Maddon said. He's not really a vocal guy. I don't even know if he's gonna be able to get to that point. He really sets a great example. After the game, he'll be in the weight room with strength coach Tim Buzz at least an extra hour before he even goes home. A lot of it depends on whether he's gonna play the next day or not. But he always has, by example, been a wonderful leader as far as I'm concerned. Just be more apt, or possibly say something to somebody that he may see that he normally wouldn't have done in the past. It would take a lot to have Zo approach you about a specific moment. He'd prefer showing you how it's done by just watching me. So all that stuff, it's wonderful and it'll all play organically. I think it's gonna play its way out. For me, he's done it for a while. Click here to download the new My Teams app by NBC Sports. Receive comprehensive coverage of your teams and stream the Cubs easily on your device.